This is the Fierce Heart Alliance featuring the Harmonic Virtues, a self-reflective practice to understand virtues based on the laws of the universe. We can apply these virtues to everyday life to fully participate in our personal evolution by cultivating resiliency, purpose, and harmony. Hi, I'm Summer Sophia Moon, and I've come here to heal myself and chew bubblegum. And I'm all out of bubblegum. So join me and my special guests as we share and learn how to love ourselves fiercely through self-care, explore the wisdom of the harmonic virtues, and grow our conscious community together. By listening, you are now a fierce heart too. Welcome to the Fierce Heart Alliance. Before we begin today's topic, I'd like to say thank you to our listeners. You're always welcome here. Thank you to our ancestors, spirit guides, and friends who are assisting us today. May these words be a force for good and timelessly infused with light and held in the frequency of rose quartz and spread healing and peace around the world. May it connect to both our consciousness and unconsciousness for the highest and most benevolent outcomes for all. If there's any words left unsaid, we trust in spirit to make things right and let it gently ease into our consciousness as necessary for understanding in our own time, in our own way. And so it is. Thank you. Today, my guest is Kathryn Lefond. Kathryn is known for her love of prayer, song, and ceremony, and is devoted to helping us remember the sacred in everyday life. For over 25 years, she has served her community as an intuitive energy healer, health coach, spiritual guide, teacher of plant medicine, and author of Seasoned with Gratitude, 250 Blessings in Celebrating the Greater Nourishment of Real Food. You can connect with her and her beautiful book at KathrynLefond.com. Welcome, Kathryn. Welcome to the Fierce Heart Alliance, Kathryn. So glad you could join us. So, Kathryn, today's topic is self-care. And so why is self-care important to you?
Self-care is a very special term for me. I find that self-care is important because regulating how I am in relationship with my own body means the difference between living a full life and being fully present to my life or not. I think that I'm responsible and that I want to be awake to that responsibility. So checking in with my body is important.
That sounds wonderful. Yeah. And so our first suggestion is to reflect on where we've been in the past year and where we're going. So what was it like for you in 2023 and what are your intentions for 2024?
2023 was in many ways a cleanup year for me rather than initiating a lot of new action. And I believe that at times I wasn't even sure what that all meant to me, but I knew that that's what I was supposed to be doing. So instead of teaching a lot of new classes, I would join other groups and work on behalf of my community more. One of the things that we did this past year, my husband and I, was we got our will done. And facing the questions around death is a huge issue. We had tried on our own to tackle this many times, different years, and never could do it. And early in the year found a woman that actually does management of that process. And she spent a few months walking us through, and then we spent a few months waiting for the lawyer to have time for us. And I would say we're about 95% done. I feel like this is a huge project. What I didn't do this year was work on the sales of my book, Seasoned with Gratitude. And I do need to get back to that because this is a book worthy of the world's attention.
That's wonderful. Well, I hear what you mean about 2023 being a cleanup year. Yeah, we both lost a dear friend, and it felt like her passing really was a closing of a chapter and the beginning of a new one. And to your point, didn't really know what that looked like and what all those changes were going to be. And now coming around to the end of the year, it really was crossing the T's, dotting the I's, getting rid of the old, start in understanding that there is a new chapter opening up and still not understanding what that new chapter is. And for me, this podcast is Spirit is, basically saying, hey, you should get on that. And oh, wow, this is time for it to happen. So that's basically where this chapter is starting to take me. And my intentions are essentially to walk the path of this podcast and see where it takes me. But then also, I have intentions of improving my health and deepening my relationship with my beloved. So but we'll see where 2024 takes us. Before we can get into SMART goals, we're basically, we have to assess where we're at, and then we have to get realistic with the time that we have. And so the next segment suggestion is about assessing our schedule and time management. And so I was wondering for you, like, what kind of role does planning and time management have to play when it comes to self-care?
I have what I refer to as a love-hate relationship with time management because I want to be present in life to truly experience its fullness. I do plan, but I limit how many goals I'm setting, and I think checking in every day of my life with my life is the most important piece for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And being present is so true, but then, things change. We get it. You have to flow with life, and also understanding how much you can actually do within a day. Like, what is realistic? And we might have 20 goals, but really only we can do 4 or 5 per day. And we need to be accepting of that and pragmatic and say, okay, well, if I can only do 4 or 5 things per day, what are those 4 or 5 things going to be? And so that's basically one of the suggestions, is to look at our schedule and time management and how can we fine tune things. And also it's for stress management too. I feel like if we don't have that time management figured out, we can not give ourselves enough time to get to our scheduled meetings and whatnot, and then that makes us stressed out, and then that just builds up stress, and we're stressed when we go to the next thing, and it compiles, and then we wonder why we're freaking out. And so it's time management, I feel, helps to just get a practical view of what is realistic in our day, in our week, in our month, our year, and it just builds from there. So that's where SMART goals come in. And so now we have an understanding of our schedule. Now we can understand, okay, it takes me half an hour to get to this appointment, and now it takes an hour for the appointment, and then you can plan that way. So once we have that figured out, that's where SMART goals come in. Okay, I need to do X at this time for this amount of time, and then I'll review in 4 months or something like that. So, once we can get an idea about our schedule and have an understanding of our time management, then it's time to talk about SMART goals. So SMART goals stand for specific, as in a narrow focus of one goal in particular, or like a certification or health, career, or finances. M for measurable, and it could be the amount of money you want to save, or a health goal you want to achieve, or even the requirements for the certification. A means attainable. It's something that is within your ability to achieve. R is relevant, as in it's something that you are motivated to do. And T is timely, that can be done by a specific date that you know of, or that you can show that you've made progress, or in a week, in a month, or year. that sort of thing. I will leave a link that betterup.com has a really great web page that explains how to do a SMART goal. And my goals would be to feel healthier by decreasing my sugar, not eating too many sweets, and exercising 3 times a week. And I will check in on my progress in 3 months. So, Kathryn, do you have any goals you'd like to share?
I do. I want to get back, as I mentioned earlier, to marketing my book, Seasoned with Gratitude. And so the S for specific would be to hire a marketing aide, which I think is going to be really important. Give myself 3 months to begin to build sales and see how we're doing and what's needed. So I better understand how I can measure this. And that it's the attainable part is really that it's worthy of being known. I believe in it, and I feel like it's a real solid book, and relevant, that sales can keep going, and that I need to be active in making that happen, and that it's timely, because one of the pieces to my book is that we want to know our farmers. We want to be eating healthy, whole foods. And I think the world is coming back to that much more so than it was even a few years ago, that we're saying, yeah, we want to actually eat foods that are live and wholesome.
Wonderful. Absolutely.
I would also add in my time management piece, when I'm not fighting with time management, that I have to be very practical and use a planner, and find that by physically writing things down, I remember them better and I can kind of check them off. It encourages me to get my tasks done and to remember it, because life is so full and so complicated. It's easy to walk away from our goals.
That's a very good point. They're easy to do and easy not to do as well.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Okay, Kathryn, so now it's time for your self-care suggestions. Do you have any suggestions for us today?
Ah, self-care. In many ways, I start at kind of the large picture before I get to the smaller individual, what am I doing for my own body piece. And the larger picture was to ask myself if I mattered, is one of the phrases I use. If I mattered, what would I do differently? Or if I mattered, how would I treat my body? And so I'll give myself little exercises just to process. And another phrase that I sometimes use is, if I were brave, what would I do? So that's a kind of a larger picture on the self-care. One of the primary things I do is cook, and probably rarely go out to eat as much as others, because I want to know what the end product was made from. And I want to honor the life of those beings, whether it's a carrot or a lamb or cabbages or cows. I want to know how to honor that gift that food is. So cooking for myself and for my loved ones is one of the ways that I take care. And another way probably fits into the goals for the coming year is that I wanted to physically exercise more and walk more. And we recently got a puppy that turned out to be part border collie. She is hurting us, and I had trouble getting out and really walking 3-4 days a week. And now it's at least twice a day. So I would say getting a dog is a huge way to up the exercise program that you're struggling with, or if you're struggling. Definitely going to be one of my primary self-care methods in the coming year and years, given who I received into my life.
Especially with it being a puppy, that's many years ahead.
Yes, yes.
All right. Well, Kathryn, do you feel complete?
Uh, you know, with self care, those things can grow, and we learn so much just day to day. My daily practice of journaling and prayer and just asking my higher self what I need to know today, that's most likely the most important practice I have for self care. Um, Everything else comes secondary to that. So thanks for asking. So I remember it. I mean, I have a regular practice. Often we don't think of it as self-care.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great point. Well, that's our episode for this week. Thank you, Kathryn, so much for your words of wisdom. For our listeners, feel free to leave any comments you might have about your self-care practices. I'd love to hear from you. Please like and subscribe. It helps this podcast more than you know. Next week is our charity episode where we'll be featuring water.org. Take care of your hearts till next time.